Kevin, would you mind pulling the door?
See the images in there.
Okay, we're all set.
All right. We will go ahead and call the Parks and Commons Commission meeting to order for September 2nd. And we'll start with doing a roll call. I'll start with introducing myself, Bobby Price, the city manager. I am just sitting in this role temporarily to lead the discussion that we left off on from our August commission meeting until our first new business item is fully discussed. And if there is an election for a new chair, then I will go ahead and step off, as I'm not technically a member of the commission, but we'll go ahead and start with you.
George Giroux.
Dan Wright.
Ron Simons.
Adam Olson.
And we have recorder Kimmy Jackson. All right, great. And would anybody like to share any announcements that they've received or have? All right, this leads us to public comments.
Wait,
All right, sir from the audience, would you like to come up and state your name and place of residence?
My name is Kevin Erdahl. I live in Yachats, and I'm here today representing the Yachats Lions Club. And as you may all, it's their 75th anniversary this year. And in honor of that, they would like to donate some money to something. Something in the order of from $5,000 to $10,000. In the past, they made a bench, donated a bench. But it doesn't have to be a bench. So that's why I'm coming to you for suggestions. I don't need them today. The Lions Club doesn't need them today. Give you time to think about it. What's the best use of that money to serve the public in Yachats?
Do you envision it as a single purchase, or do you think it could be used towards something that's going to cost the city $75,000?
I don't.
Just to pick a number out of the air.
If it come to that, it would probably go back to the Lions Club, we vote on it
Okay.
and see if that's accepted. I think that's probably the case of any suggestion you make,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
We take it back. Chances are we'd say thumbs up and
Right.
then expect it probably to go to the city council and up the chain.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you
And
for
that's
that.
all.
Yeah.
Does the Lions Club have any preference? Any suggestions?
Other than what they've done in the past, it's the bench. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot of benches now. There's been a lot of benches put in since the Lions Club put in there. Couple benches out there by the ocean. And there's like the two that come to my mind. There might be some other ones too.
Yeah, so the Lions Club was instrumental in the original build of the pavilion.
Just
for
gonna mention that.
for the city. And as you know, we are facing some pretty significant remodel work that needs to happen to that. So maybe that would be something that they'd like to contribute towards the completion of that project. Because in the August City Council meeting, they did vote to move forward with the completion of that building and getting it back up to code and getting it usable and rentable and weathered in.
I think
And-
the glass gown that was put up, is that part of that?
Yeah,
plan?
it will be replaced.
It's going to be done
Mhm.
correctly.
So that is something that we can
Well, actually,
think about or.
I'll wait till
Mhm,
probably next meeting,
mhm,
whenever, and
mhm.
Okay,
with,
yeah.
Yeah.
and you guys can spend.
I just find myself wondering if they would like to have their donation as an earmarked item
Mhm.
where it would say, thank you to the Lions Club for, as opposed to, if we do the pavilion and it's $285,000 and we put on it, a small contribution was made by the
I
Lions
think
Club.
there's a plaque already.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a question, if they would
Mhm.
like it to be something that would be earmarked and have their, some kind of credit given or not. So, yeah, something we'll talk about.
Mhm.
Very good.
I mean, as a line and a member, I think the Lions Club just use it, they want to help the community, I don't think they're looking for.
Credit.
I think it's just big to sort of people.
Mhm.
We're always looking for new members.
It's love.
Shameless plug.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
Five minutes?
Did you want to use the whole 5?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Make sure Dave knows I.
Any public comment from you?
Well, I'm here to learn.
Okay, perfect.
Do you
Okay.
want to introduce yourself?
My name is Kevin Chambers. I moved here about a year ago. I have a history my mother- with the community. My mother was mayor,
Oh,
Nancy Reynolds. We have kind of a family and hired, I'm kind of looking for how to be appropriately involved.
great.
Sounds
Have
good.
to ask him how his weekend was.
That's exactly right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Amos.
Yeah, yeah. Amos, what was it? Your name? Amos?
Kevin.
I thought
Kevin,
you said
Kevin.
Amos. I thought you said Amos, Kevin, something.
Kevin Chambers.
Yeah.
Kevin
gotcha.
Chambers, okay.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Kevin. Thanks for joining us today.
Check my hearing.
Okay, so that brings us into our new business from the agenda. It's our one and only official agenda item, and anything beyond that can turn into other business. So as we dive into our first agenda item, we face a pivotal decision regarding the future and structure of the commission. We have two main paths before us. We can elect a chair and continue operating in our current format, or we can explore a dynamic work group format. That's kind of two solid options, or there is also discussion of maybe putting the commission on hold as a third option. I see two like really working format choices, and then the on hold is a third option.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So when you gave the second option as dynamic work group,
Mhm.
but wouldn't that still be putting the commission on pause or hold in order to do that? Okay.
Yep, so
Just clarify.
it would be kind of a combo.
Yeah.
Yep. So the work group format would allow us to focus on specific areas such as identifying funding opportunities and prioritizing projects aligned with our greater master plan. We're working on codes as they're identified by the city council. This approach not only empowers our members to take active roles, but it fosters collaboration and innovation in our efforts to enhance the Parks and Commons. Continuing forward and electing a new chair is another option, and that will lead into ongoing discussions and clarifying roles of the advisory body of the commission and how it supports the work of city staff and the city council. So I'm thinking to guide our discussion today, we can have a few considerations. It would be good for us to evaluate the benefits of a work group structure versus the traditional format, and also identify potential projects that would benefit from a focused work group, and discuss effective ways that the commission can continue in the current structure and see what kind of evolves from those questions for the commission. So I don't know who wants to jump in with their thoughts on what's been in this last month, what's been really settling with them on how they feel most effective in
I have
their
a couple of
volunteerism
things.
for the
I'm
change.
happy to start. So a couple of things that have come to mind for me in the last month. One is, and this is just by way of example of how projects that come from us and then we turn them over to whatever body is active in implementing our advised ideas. And I can think of at least a couple of those where they just seem to sit there and nothing happens. And the perfect example for me is the Peace Park. So about a year ago, a group of us went and we walked all the parks along the coast, went to the Peace Park, and we talked about the bench that was falling apart and the peace pole that was broken and needed to be repaired. And when we brought those ideas to the city, and I'm not sure, I think it was you, you guys agreed that Public Works would take that on, or that somehow that would get coordinated through the city. And, here it is a year later and nothing has happened. All they did was tear out the old bench. And so to me, it's an example of, as an advisory board, we are not doing anything. I mean, John and I could have gone, or George and I, or the three of us, we could have gone and put a bench in there in a weekend. And we could have ordered a part for the broken peace pole and gotten that fixed and upgraded that part back to how it used to be. And because it was taken out of our hands, because we're an advisory group, nothing has happened, and we don't get to do anything, and no one else is doing it either. So that's an example of one of the problems that I have with continuing the commission as it is, as an advisory body. I know the city's really busy. The city has an awful lot, and I'm thinking of you, Bobby, particularly. You have a lot on your plate and there's a lot to shuffle, but it just seems to me that as this board is, as it is now, we're not really making a difference. We give ideas out, mostly nothing happens. And you've got a lot of talent here, basically, in my opinion, being wasted. And also, as we've talked about before, we are another layer of bureaucracy. So, Rosa is pretty much running the show on the Commons on most levels. So for us for the city to come to us and ask for advice, and then to us to give the advice, I don't understand why that's even necessary. You guys have the personnel to do the work, and we're just another cog in the middle of the process. So there's a couple of thoughts that I have.
Well, no, okay. I'm still standing by my suggestion at the last meeting that we go to a work group format, specifically a master plan implementation work group, because I think it's a big enough umbrella to let us do everything we want to do. And I think the work group has so much less bureaucracy associated with it. We talked last time, I think you came up with the figure, if I remember correctly, it was something about 12 hours of staff time per month just to keep the commission going, plus the paperwork requirements for our chairperson are apparently so onerous that nobody wants the job. So it seems that if we were a work group, we'd have a better focus, even though it's that big picture focus. We'd have a lot less paperwork and be able to be more active, as Ron suggests, than pushing paper all the time. And we'd probably have an easier time dividing into subgroups or setting up a subgroup to say, okay, the master plan work group thinks we should work on Peace Park. So, Ron and John and two other guys go do it, So that's where I'm at now. I think we can do everything that the commission has done in the past in a work group format more efficiently. And I know and I think we cover the basis for a work group as far as we have a dedicated project. We can set whatever timeline we want. You could have a 5-year run on it, or a 25-year, or you do it annually. But I think it would simplify the process and allow us to be more active and focus more on what we want to do rather than sit around and talk all day. I yield the floor.
All right, a couple of comments. One, to Ron's point about nothing happens. One thing I've learned here in my time, not just on this commission, but just in general in living here, everything with government goes slow. Really, 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 really slow. 10 times slower than you ever expect it to. So I think back to the Sunset Park North and South. That came through us. That was our commission's doing. That was a big accomplishment. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that some things do get done, and that at the time seemed to be taking forever. But it did happen. I also see the master plan as a bunch of separate projects within the master plan that each one makes a pretty good work group potentially, but I don't see the master plan itself as being a work group. And things like the Peace Park are outside of the master plan, because the master plan is just this compound, if you will, the Greater Commons area. So the walkway is outside the master plan, I believe. There are aspects of the town that are not within that are not covered at all by the master plan. So I see a use for this commission continuing as a commission, not to take away from a potential work group also forming to take on many tasks that we do. And with that, Gio and I talked a little bit, and we are willing to kind of take on chair and vice chair responsibilities. And we have outlined how we would break that up if you would vote us in, if we want to continue in that format. I would be the official chair and I'd be running the meetings, and I would attend the chairperson meeting monthly. Gio would take care of a lot of the working on the agenda and taking care of correspondence during the month as it comes in. Those are the four main duties that we were aware of. And we could continue as is. We can still debate as a commission whether we want to meet monthly, or I know last month we were talking about work sessions alternating or something. There's still room for changes, but that's kind of where I'm at. I'd like to see the commission continue as is with the potential addition of more work groups.
I'll chime in since you've been looping in on that. I agree. There is a goal for the commission in this city. And one of the things we'll lose in a work group format, and I think it's important to point out that the work group format that you mentioned hasn't been outlined yet as to how exactly that would form. So some of the things I'm about to say may or may not be true, but this is a public forum and we'll lose that if we dissolve this. So just to give a firm example, if somebody wanted to put basketball hoops up in the commons, they wouldn't come here and ask for it. They'd go to you or they'd go to Rosa and say, I want it. And I think I just broke my own rule. To some degree, I think today for this policy discussion, we need to be talking about the city manager and the commons coordinator to take the person out of it. No offense, Bobby, but I'll just point out that a previous city manager put the kibosh on a work group that was working on the boardwalk with the excuse that she didn't have any city staff to work on it. That was especially frustrating to this work group because they were all volunteers showing up doing the work and no staff was needed. And so in a situation where the commission didn't involve, that was completely the city manager's decision to say, no, you guys stop working on that. And in the case where a commission was alive, we could at the very minimum go to the city council and say, look, your city manager is being obstructive to a work group that's trying to get good work done. And I'm using this example because it's a glaring success of a group, maybe the best success so far of a work group. And so I'm afraid that if this commission isn't here, everything is just Joe Blow citizen going to either the commons coordinator or the city manager asking for something and getting a yay or a nay. There's no public exposure to that whatsoever. Yeah.
But what would be to keep a member of that work group from going to the city council just as our commission would and presenting to the commission, to the council, that the city managers do this, make the same argument that you said that the commission could do. Any citizen could do that anyway.
Yeah, nothing, nothing would.
So I mean, that in and of itself isn't a preclusion to.
True that,
Yeah.
but the city council is not focused solely on commons and parks. And so there is some expertise that we bring and some tribal knowledge that we bring, that when requests come in, we can place it into a priority that has kind of a timeline.
Sure.
And so I'm a little bit afraid of losing the public exposure part that we provide here. So that's one of the things I would like to point out. Number two, I don't know what the work group scenario you're talking about is that is short of dissolving the commission. But if all of us came here to get stuff done and we step outside of the commission, your voice on what gets done becomes the same as any Joe Blow in Yachats. You are Citizen Joe. You are not part of a commission who is looking at setting priorities, who's looking at the bigger picture. You're just Joe Blow, and whether you're on that work group or not ends up being the city manager's decision, nobody else's. And so in this commission, we can't establish work groups, but we can suggest priorities for work groups. We can suggest members of work groups, and we could certainly join as many work groups as you're willing to take on. I just want to point out, you have a voice now that you will lose later. If you dissolve this commission, it will be up to the city manager 100% to establish which work groups get established, which ones continue, what they work on, what their priorities are. And no matter what we do as a commission, will be the case. The city manager has all of that discretion, but at least it's a forum in which the public and these members can express what they see as the next priority, or what how something plays out. I think in the work groups, that's the main goal of them, is that, you know, ideas get generated and developed, and then we can come back and report to the commission. So one of the structures that Adam and I talked about was holding formal meetings every other month and work sessions in those formal meetings. And then the non-formal meetings would also be work sessions that could take place here or elsewhere. I think there's still a public recording part of it, maybe in a work session. So they would need to be here, or there's been talk about turning room 3 into a public recorded space. I don't know if that's still being talked about. But the idea would be to get away from the dais and feel more like a work group. And I know I'm taking up a lot of time. I'm going to take up some more time because I feel like I want to establish my work group bona fides, because I'm here talking about keeping the council, the committee going. But that's not because I don't see the strength of work groups. I do, and I generally agree that a work group model is good for this commission. Work group administrative policy, which I helped write, states as an objective number 1, to recognize the historic importance of work groups in this community as a mechanism for undertaking and accomplishing tasks for which the city does not have sufficient staff. Number 2, to create a mechanism to facilitate leveraging of unique skills and expertise of members of the community. Number 3, to encourage the creation of work groups to undertake tasks of benefit to the community. And number 4, and lastly, to encourage community engagement through volunteerism. So those are all great goals. I think they're a nice summary of why all 5 of us are sitting at this desk, because we wanted to show up, get stuff done, and engage with the public in getting those things done. I'm going to continue my bona fides by reading directly from the statement that I read to the city council back in March of 23. It was my interview to join this committee, and at the very end of it, I said, if I become a member of the Parks and Commons Commission, I will make a motion to recommend to the city council that a collaborative process be entered into, including members of both the council and the Parks and Commons Commission, with the goal of amending Ordinance 209 in order to update the scope and responsibilities of the commission with special emphasis on formalizing the establishments of work groups so that there is a clear and predictable path for implementing the commission of any current and future projects. So my bona fides are solid on this.
Well said, Gio.
And, I just feel like I asked the city manager here to explain what option B is and how it maintains us having a say other than a member of a work group that we may or may not be invited to be part of. Because currently, we're kind of got a shoe in to work groups that are at least not established through this commission, but requested through this commission. We would have a shoe-in position for both setting priorities and what the work groups are. In this other format, what would our say be?
Sure. Just to be quite honest and frank, like there is not an official method set up
Yeah.
at this point. I think I really just wanted to hear from you guys where you wanted this. I'm not trying to steer it in any way or the other, just here for the ride. And however it turns out, then kind of evolving it as it unfolds. Excuse me. My thought is that we do have a work group kind of structure, just general structure set up already, and I would work this into that structure, whereas we have a meeting once a month where leads of work groups are invited to participate and or report on the work that their work group's doing, and that's for existing work groups. I would imagine that would, encompass any other work groups that were to pop up out of this, and what we have set up for starting a work group is to have an application process for each project, and all the work groups are really project based at this point. So sure, some of them will naturally kind of evolve and kind of stick together, or if there's the trails or something was before work groups were started, and it will continue on that way, but just has kind of melded into this work group format. As I'm saying that we have the application, and they're project based, they're goal oriented. I would see that continue on. And if there was a specific project that was brought up for a work group, I would say how I would go forward with it is that I would put an email out to all of the folks that are on this commission and say, this work group has come up. Is there anybody who has an interest in joining this particular project or this particular thing we're going to be working on? And or there has been discussion also of having a Commons Master Plan work group. So that would kind of be a evergreen, I would say that'd be an evergreen a work group with projects that come up along the way. And that would be an open invitation to say this group and anybody else who would like to participate in those different projects as they come up.
Yeah.
So I don't have like a for sure, but that's kind of how I, just based off of what's existing right now, how I could see that evolving and, bringing the future projects and projects from this group into it. I didn't want to put too much energy, because if this continues on, then it continues on and we just keep going forth. So
Yeah.
I think it's a work in progress and exactly how that would unfold.
Okay. So I guess I'm thinking that work groups are in some ways difficult to do in a work session. For example, Ron, you wanted to work on the Peace Park and replace a bench. Obviously, you can't do that in a work session because it needs to be a publicly recorded event. And so it doesn't really make sense to necessarily schedule work groups on a commission schedule. They're done at other times. And so one of the things that I was thinking about since I talked to Adam about our structure was that this every other month seems like a pretty good timing to me anyways. And I'm sure we need to meet every month. But the work sessions in the work during the regular scheduled meetings could be used kind of in one of two ways. Number one, the dreaded rewriting of policies, which we have maybe just a couple more to consider. And then the other one would be more of like reporting from the work groups that are pertaining to this commission, are reporting to the commission during the work session, and ideas being, sort of hammered out. If they're the kind of work group that has ideas. If you're replacing a bench in a park, there's not much to discuss. But if you're doing a master plan, there's lots to discuss. And bringing everybody up to date, getting more input. Again, it's public and the public can hear it, see it if they're interested, and be part of the conversation. In a work group, the public doesn't have any access to your work group other than the people who joined the work group.
And then the reports that would be given, we would, if they weren't given here, they would be given during our city council meetings.
Correct. And you also have your work group meetings where these are discussed, but those are also not public. So there is a public exposure through the reports, but not in a way that the public can engage with it. The way they could in a work session, if somebody was really interested in the master plan work group and wanted to keep up, they could be showing up here, hearing the updates every other month and chiming in as they wish. So that's, basically the upshot. I know in this plan, we don't get rid of all the staff time, but we are cutting it in half, which is something, hopefully. And going from 12 hours to 6 maybe is a good thing. I still think policy-wise, the commission needs to be the ordinance governing this commission still needs to be rewritten to recognize a new structure. So that work is still ahead of us if we want to do it. And Adam and I even talked about being voted in as chair and vice chair, even if you wanted to do it for just 2 more months as we figure out the new structure and decide whether this is worth going on or not, rather than just letting it fizzle today.
For 3 months if we go to the end of the year.
Or 3 months to the end of the year, sure, yeah, something like that.
First of all, the 2 people that recruited me to join the commission left. So I'm careful what they're wishing for, because, obviously there's a lot of, administrative work maybe that they didn't realize when they tackled it. So that's something to consider. 2, if we decide, hey, let's dissolve this, how hard is it to reconstitute it if that's a mistake? If you just say, hey, that was a mistake, when you go back 2 months later and go, hey, we shouldn't be doing this. I don't know the rules behind reestablishing something that's no longer.
Maybe Kimmy, do you have any?
How do you
I
reestablish?
can pop in on that real quick. So for that, I wouldn't say we would want to dissolve it or do anything that would change our ordinance, just simply put on hold. And then if it was to decide 2 months, 6 months, a year, hey, we really need to have that commission. And then it could just easily be brought back to, and I think that would simply be through conversation that happens with maybe some of these members, community members who see that it's missing. And then it would probably start with me, and then I would reach out to the members who would still be seated technically, and then in council, and then it would be a discussion to bring it back that way. That's how I would see that happening. But we wouldn't change any ordinance, so in a fully go away and tell it what, yeah. So I don't see it would be very hard to bring it back.
So the both to put it on hold and to bring it back would take an action through the city council, I'm guessing.
And if there's a long lag, you would have no commissioners left that are still temporarily or still serving. For instance, mine expires, I think, the end of this year.
As does mine.
Okay.
Bobby? I still consider myself the new kid on the block because I've only been in town a few years and I've only been on this commission certainly less than a year. But a frustration I have is every time we've gotten together, I have basically said, who are we? What do we do? And everybody else is doing the same thing. What do we do? What do we work on? Who are we as a group? And we're still doing that here today. I don't want to change what we do. I want to change how we do it, basically, to make it more responsive to what we want to see done and have less of that paperwork that is so hard on us and the city staff. And I will reference, John mentioned that he had two commission members recruit him. I had the same two recruit me.
I had the same two recruits.
As soon as I said yes, they went and they were out the door. And I will say it unofficially since they're not here to speak for themselves, but I've had coffee with both of those gentlemen and they've said, we like the work group idea. We did not like the commission just through the paperwork. So if we can do what we want to do, which is basically guide the development of Yachats in a beneficial manner, if we can do that in a simpler structure, I am all for it. Because I think we will continue to, one thing John mentioned, we will probably continue to have attrition in commission members as they keep going, well, hell, I got more things to do than waste 2 hours of time talking about who are we and what do we do. So like I said, if we can reorganize in a way that cuts all of the red tape and cuts all of the extraneous work that doesn't serve any real purpose. I mean, we've had so many conversations here that have gone over and round and, should we even be working on, I'll give you credit for this one, Ron. Should we even be doing this as a commission? So I would like to see us streamline. And I'll take a second, Gio has this concern that city manager can shut us down or shut us out.
No, shut work groups.
Work groups, not.
Well, yeah, well, sorry, that's what I meant. If we reorganize as a work group. Well, the city can do that with us too, because we're straight advisory. And we've mentioned things, we've advised before and seen no action on it.
I guess, just to clarify,
Yeah.
words in my mouth that I didn't actually say. So
Okay,
I didn't say shut us down. I said your voice in prioritizing projects and your voice in encouraging certain work groups to be formed would disappear.
And
We'd be Joe Citizen, just like any other guy walking on the sidewalk right
Well-
now. And your sort of 30,000-foot view of paying attention to the commons and the parks and all that wouldn't matter because it's completely up to the city manager whether a work group gets formed or not. You wouldn't have any further say in.
how is that different than it is right now?
exactly.
It's still at the city manager's discretion whether or not she's going to make a work group. And the fact that I'm just Joe Citizen instead of Ron on the commission does not change my access in any way. I have the same right to go to the council, to go to the city manager and make my statements and put out my ideas and priorities as I do as a commissioner. I don't see how that changes at all if we don't have a commission.
Because let's say you're part of the master plan implementation group,
Talking about a work group.
work group.
Okay.
When that work group comes back to this commission and shows their work, you would be in the position to look it over and say, I think you guys are missing the mark here. I think this was excellent work here. And I think this budget looks crazy. So you'd have a lot of say in when people report back here from their work group work. Whereas whether you are involved in a work group or not will be completely up to the city manager. And so also we get the public transparency part of this argument that
I have an argument for that too, if you want to hear it.
I do.
How many?
Can I just pop in real quick?
No, we have two people here today. That's the most private citizens that have come to a meeting all year. So the public,
That's not true. We've had Dean and Michael and Bob. Langley
Okay,
and
all
a few
right,
others.
sure. We've had
five or
former
six.
commissioners and trails people here.
Um, whether or not the public shows up isn't really the point. That they have the opportunity to show up.
They can go to the city council.
Yes.
Same
the city
thing.
Council isn't focused on the parks and commons. And so if we're dialing in on, say the master plan, and that's a long discussion that the council is not going to be privy to. They're going to get a report and that's about it. They're not going to have the 30,000-foot view. And I'm almost certain as the master plan work group gets going, there's going to be citizens who are going to be really involved, at least in parts of it. They're going to be very, very interested in showing up and hearing what's going on. Their opportunity to do that will be right here during a work session. If that opportunity doesn't exist, it's going to have to be created somewhere, somehow, if not here, somewhere. And so I just feel like, if I may say so, the conversation so far has been, we keep the commission as it is, or we go to a work group model. And I just want to point out that the work group model is up to one person, not this committee.
But we don't, that's not true. We are not responsible for the work groups. In name only, we don't get to make any decisions. All we do is advise. Bobby still is the only one who makes the decisions.
That's correct.
So it doesn't change a
As
thing.
a group who is focused 30,000-foot view on commons and parks, we have a very distinct view of saying, here's a work group we really need. Let's recommend it to Bobby. That voice is gone as soon as.
If you are sitting at, looking at it from a 30,000-foot view, and you have a perspective on a work group that you think would be beneficial, you can take it to Bobby as if you were still on the commission. All the difference is that we don't spend 4 hours having group discussions trying to come up with a unified view to present.
And if I did that and she said no, there's no transparency to that whatsoever in this town. And that is a problem. I will remind you of Heidi and the boardwalk. She just said, no, we're not doing it. She went to the council, complained bitterly, and they voted to have this committee lose its oversight of the commons. And so I just feel like, perhaps Ron, with all respect, you're not really taking in the fact that as soon as this commission goes on hold, your only participation is a work group you get asked to be on.
Or I ask to be on.
Or asked.
I can take the responsibility to put myself out there.
While that's still the case inside this commission, you at least have a 30,000-foot view to offer to the conversation. Whereas if you're not on this commission, you're just Joe Blow hoping to get on the work.
I'm not sure that I follow the logic. Why is there a 30,000-foot view for us that I can't have on my own without being here?
You can have it on your own. It's just that there's no forum where your 30,000 foot
Okay, I
can
see.
be corrected.
You got your hand raised. Well, I think we're going back and forth on the same thing.
And Bobby, I think I interrupted you.
Yeah, it's okay. I see you had your hand up. So
All right.
I'll let you pop in and then I have something.
Again, I know none of the legalities of open meeting versus work group or how they're organized. However, I have been on a work group. We did the bathroom, the commons bathroom work group.
Yes.
Okay, in that work group, we were only 4 people. And of course, we're not that many more here. And you came in with some excellent ideas. I added some good ideas. We sat down and discussed them. We had a 30,000-foot view of the bathrooms because we were talking years ahead. Got to make sure we don't step on our feet and tear anything back out again. We weren't thinking ahead. And that work group worked fine. I do not understand why we can't expand that concept slightly for that 30,000-foot view of the master plan and proceed with that format. And I know folks here still have Heidi trauma, but anybody, any bad management can throw a monkey wrench into what we're doing. And I also want to mention, the thing of, Adam's volunteering to do some of the paperwork. You're volunteering to do some of the paperwork that we need just to have an open meeting here. It seems to me, and I don't want to hear anybody say that Facebook isn't good enough, that there's people here that don't have Facebook, because if we actually put a little of that administrative energy into an ongoing Facebook page for the work group, then we would get public input. We could put public input out there and more people would know about us than they do from our current organizational model here. So I still do not see where we're losing any power with a work group model. I only see that we're streamlining the process. And I'm still waiting to hear any kind of major downside.
Well, if I may say,
Please.
I am not arguing against work groups, right?
No, you're not arguing against
Right.
work groups, but you're holding them separate from the commission, like they cannot be, or they cannot perform the same function.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that, as a commission, we can maintain our 30,000-foot view and suggest work groups be started and be the place where the work groups report back, where the public gets to see it. I'm not saying the work groups have to happen during this 2 hours.
Mhm.
The work groups are gonna happen when they happen. But let's take the bathroom example. That progress that we made on that would be brought back here and showed to the rest of the commission during the work session. And that would be an opportunity for the public to be part of the process.
Or if we had a subgroup of the work group that did the bathrooms, then that subgroup could come back to the major work group and do the exact same thing.
What's the subgroup of a work group?
The subgroup of a work group would be, say, if there's 7 of us here, we have a full quorum. And the 7 of us are actually the master plan implementation group, as I'm using right now. Then 3 or 4 of us, like 4 spun off. We had 4 people for that work group for the bathrooms. Those 4 people could then come back and report to the other 3, and we have 100% communication.
So that,
But we're still in a work group.
that sounds like the commission continuing on with a sub-work group happening. That's like,
Well, that was one question I had for you is, can a work group have a sub-work group?
I wouldn't think so. That sounds like too much. I would see that being as like the commission remains and then there is a subcommittee, sub-commission, work group that is made up of 2 or 3 members of the commission to go work on a project, but never any amount that would ever hit a quorum and could invite other members from the community to participate, just like a work group. So I feel like that'd be like a subcommittee kind of
All right,
thing.
well, follow-up question on that, okay?
Mhm,
And I'm gonna simplify it a little bit
Mhm.
for the example. Going back to the bathrooms.
mhm.
You could basically call George and I a subgroup who came up with the design ideas. And you and Rosa as the rest of the group who listened to it and said, I'm doing oversight of what you've done and it looks good. It's still
Yeah.
a work group. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we have to.
It sounds like a lot of semantics.
Yeah.
Well, it does.
Can I clarify?
Please.
What you're saying is that you'd like to see the commission remain seated here, but be a work group.
I want to streamline what we do because I'll be honest with you, I've wasted most of the time I've been here.
Can I
Okay, so
jump in really quick with that? I'm gonna flip the conversation dialogue a little bit here and ask you guys, what is an effective way that I think we've discussed a lot about, work group versus commission. If we were to remain a commission, how would we effectively move forward in its current structure? To your point, you're saying you feel like you've been on repeat ever since you started, and there
Amen.
hasn't been a lot of things being completed. You have named a couple of very effective projects that have come up. You've named a specific project that has had some progress, but we have to work with contractors and we're waiting on contractors.
I can build the damn bench.
So, like,
I don't need a contractor to build a bench.
That's the kind of.
That's
you
why I don't
know,
like this format,
process
because
that-
we don't get to do anything.
Exactly, so.
All we get to do is write ordinances.
The model that we have puts that in our hands and then we have to wait for a contractor. And then that contractor doesn't get back to us and we have to try 3 other contractors, you know, so that's and then that makes your point of slow work, you know, and that is the current structure we have. So if we were to continue in with this exact same structure, how would we effectively do it?
Well, I mean, just right off the bat, the obvious thing is the policy rewriting that we've done. That Ron seems bitter about, that Dan seems like we've been spinning our wheels about. Those things would be done in a work group, not sitting here.
Wait, in a work group?
Yes.
They could be done in
A work group
They
can
don't.
write policy for the commission?
And the work group would come back to this commission and we could vote on it and say yay or nay.
So
I
then.
like that idea personally.
Work that's being done would be done in a work session and the only.
Wait, we're
thing that I
checking
can-
a work group. Now I'm confused again. No, those are not the
They're
same.
not, they're not the same. Sorry,
So I-
there's work sessions and there's work groups.
So who's
that-
writing the document?
Let me interject
The
for
work
just a
group,
second.
the work group would write the document. Bring it to the work session, reveal it to the commission. Commission would hear out and say, I think this needs to be revised, this needs revised, go back and do your work, see it.
Okay, I would have a question for you guys. Who's gonna volunteer to be on a work group that's gonna write policy for the?
I know one person.
Who?
You. It's obvious.
This commission, I'd be happy to do it. If it's rewriting the tree ordinance, I'm gonna be there as a bulwark.
What about the weed policy?
And Adam and I just talked about, you know, that rewrite of the tree ordinance should be done in collaboration with somebody from the planning commission, at least one person from the planning commission. So the idea is they can go out and find the people who might be interested in such a thing. It doesn't have to be just people from this group.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about work group. What was your question?
Well, I just said the weed policy that we went through the city, that we were questioning whether we should even be addressing that,
Yeah.
especially on private property.
I wouldn't have had anything to do with that, that's for sure.
And we actually have had one work group through the commission that nobody called a work group, and that was mostly Dan Sterling going home and apparently sitting down for hours
Yes.
reworking language.
Yeah.
So that was an example of one. But that was still some tedious stuff for everybody.
Yeah, and he hit the wall and had to resign.
Yeah, well,
So, you know, maybe that's a self-fulfilling
and yes, I.
deal.
So
We just had another work group with John and Meg and Adam for the
Signage.
to review the signage. And that was, you know, members compiled of the
Mhm.
commission.
We presented it to the city council.
Yeah.
After it was presented here.
So I think the meetings would honestly get more efficient if we weren't doing the work of, say, policy rewriting in the meetings. We'd have a much more streamlined agenda. And the bulk of the meeting would be work sessions with people reporting back from the progress of their work groups. That's the way I envision it.
I just seem to think that every month before we have a meeting, when we get the documents, it was just almost overwhelming. There was like 20 different documents, you seemed like you were reviewing. It was.
Or look at the city council ones.
I just thought, what are we really we're gonna brush through all of this and accomplish nothing and just skim it, over it all. And it just seemed like it was a lot of.
But to Gio's point, if a work group was focused on just rewriting the ordinance, then some of us who aren't involved or interested in rewriting the ordinance wouldn't be involved, and we'd just have to see the final product that they come up with.
Mike, I wonder, why didn't we talk about this 6 or 9 months ago, that we could have a work group to rewrite all the ordinances instead of us doing all of it?
Great
I
question.
mean, that's what burned me out on this whole process.
I have a related question. which is where would we find the people to do these work groups if not out of these people?
Yeah.
And if we have we have a quorum of 7, as in that's the total number of members we have.
Fine.
I'm being optimistic.
Yeah, 7.
You know,
Kevin's gonna
we
do
have
it.
a maximum of 7.
Not after today.
You know, aren't we gonna have the same thing where several of us are saying, I don't do that, you go do it, and all of a sudden Adam and Gia are going, God, I'm spending all my time writing this stuff. I don't know, I
think you'd be
just wonder where
surprised.
we can get the people to do it.
I think you'd be surprised. The varied interests. Gio's gonna work on the ordinance for for our commission. I'll take a stab at working with planning commission to come up with a tree ordinance. John and Meg and I did the signage. There's usually somebody who's gonna step up, if not 2 or 3, to do various tasks as they arise.
But that still has us meeting as the Parks and Commons Commission, plus us being work group people.
Which is how we've operated for years effectively. I mean, they weren't always called work groups, but that's how we've operated, and it's at times been successful, at times not as successful, but it has worked. I mean, the cabinets under the stage.
Yeah,
I think back to the stair over here. You came in with some fantastic suggestions. If this commission didn't exist, I doubt you were going to be attending the city council meeting to chime in with those suggestions, or would have been given the time to give those suggestions.
but I will say if there was a work group, I would have contributed to the work.
Potentially, but how many in this room or at this table knew there was a fireworks work group, an alternative fireworks work group that has formed?
We don't, and we should know, and apparently
You
there's
don't know?
a blind spot.
Seriously, does anyone know?
No.
I know.
I know you know. Case in point. I mean, that's my argument.
But here we are, we have a commission and yet we are on it. We still don't know
Exactly.
what work groups are happening.
Well,
We don't need to know about all work groups. It's not related to the commons or parks.
But the work group
the
is.
work groups,
reporting
work
to-
groups are forming
Mhm.
and there's not public notice. We didn't know about it. If I hadn't watched Craig's recap of the meeting, because not everyone's going to sit in the city council meeting for 4 hours once a month and see everything that's going on. It's just not possible. He's getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
I'll join him.
Well, all people should know that a good place to look is on the staff report, as it says
Yeah,
those
They
different.
should know.
Real bullet.
How many people who aren't on a commission do you think read those?
You'd be surprised.
And so,
Okay.
to get back to your question. Specific work group, if there's a master plan, work group, it's just probably gonna be narrowed down to specific things to implement in the work group. You'll find community members that are interested. I mean, if you go about designing a pickleball court, I can think of a lot of people who are gonna be showing up and wanting to chime in on that.
Well, that's
So-
true.
And I also think that you're right, there's a public outreach part of this commission that's really missing. About informing people what's up. I definitely agree. And Facebook might be the answer.
Are you able to weigh in with your opinion, or are you a neutral arbitrator for this? On how you promote?
You know, honestly, I'm just trying
It's
to,
your job.
I am trying to be as neutral as possible. You guys are the commission. This is really your discussion. I'm here just helping facilitate it at the moment. I see pros and cons to both sides
Mhm.
of it, to be quite honest. And just to really quick to note to the work groups, like there is a lot of different work groups, but not all of them are gonna get reported here because not all of them
No,
are directly pertaining
not.
here.
Exactly.
So some of them get reported to Public Works and Streets, some just go straight to the city council because they're city council driven. So that's why, like unless you're looking, you're not gonna know. But a good suggestion that was given that is like a page that lists all of the work groups and what they're all happening.
Yes.
And as you all know, this work group formality has been kind of evolving.
Mhm.
And I think that is a really great next step, especially if this was going to be the format of this group is that we had a page and we shared that widely with the city. I mean, did anybody read the
Just.
newsletter
I will, but I
today? I
didn't
mean,
read it.
I
I
feel
had a chance to read it.
a really high readership of our city, our newsletter. And that's a great way, now that we're doing it at e-newsletter, that's a really great place to share the information, share a page on there or, a summary of all of the work groups that are there and then a link to the website. And I think that would be getting the information out there. I think we're fine tuning how we do this work group thing as a formality for the city. But if this was to evolve into that kind of state, I think that would be like my first thing to do is make a formal list and a formal website and a place where people can email if they're interested in what kind of project is happening, that they can join in on the work group and sharing what we're doing in that format through public communication in our channels such as the e-newsletter and Facebook and things like that.
That's a great start, Robbie, on the outreach.
Yeah. And the outreach is important and it really is, it's getting views and it is getting read. And I think I just looked at today, our e-newsletter went out and it's already had over 800 views. So I mean, you can track how many views that it's getting.
Well, I
and-
forgot to tell you, I opened it 150 times.
You. The other 150 were But I mean, I don't know, I just as I'm hearing this conversation, I'm hearing a lot of passion, I'm hearing concern, I'm hearing, connection to this long-standing tradition, I'm hearing evolution, I'm hearing time and feeling that you want to be contributing with the time that you're getting, not just sitting here and having the same conversation over and over and over. We're doing it again. So.
Adam has a comment.
So I just want to say that I think that we should move into making a decision on which way to go. And it might be good to try 3 months of doing a co-chair situation here with every other month and adding in the idea of work groups, but all along that, I want to still remind you all that it's still an advisory role. Any recommendation or view that's given here is still going to be up to the city manager to take or not take, or to take to city council or not take to city council. So I don't want to get too stuck on that. And I do hope that the city manager will always be open and willing to hear from citizens and be responsive to citizens. I can't always speak for, but I'm going to be here for 20 years. So
We hope.
yeah. So there's things to consider here for sure. But I do think we should kind of figure out what it is going to be. And I don't know if we want that to be.
I have a recommendation. How about we just go around, if anyone has a closing remark, brief closing remark perhaps, and then we put it to a vote. So that's what I think.
Sure.
All right, one concept that come to me is maybe we should retain the commission, but perhaps only meet quarterly and set up work groups within the commission to tackle some of these organizational things in the hope that we can actually get organized and move forward. I don't know if that's a good plan, but it does seem that every month we come in here and talk in circles and get very little progress done. So if we could cut that down to a quarterly meeting where we review what the work groups have been doing, perhaps that would take care of the open meeting, community input, and also kind of let us get organized. Because right now, there's a famous saying that the best size for a committee is one. And the more we have, and I think you alluded to this because you went 5 of us instead of 7, the more we have, the longer these conversations go and the more they're convoluted. So if we can perhaps for lack of a better term, break up the workload and organize it into subsets that we can then get together and go, what happened with this? What happened with that? Okay, we like this, and then we're out of here. That might work better than what we've been doing.
I'll just chime in. I think quarterly is a little too long, so I still like the every other month idea. And I just want to make sure you understand, we can't start work groups. We can ask Bobby to start work groups. So that's the only way work groups get started.
Well, I mean, this is a cooperative venture, so I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
mean,
I just wanted to,
Yeah,
you made it sound like we were going to be creating work groups and we won't be.
well,
Commission.
and I don't know,
Just-
can we not?
We can.
That's correct. We cannot.
And we can suggest work groups, and then
Suggest.
Bobby says, let's go do it.
Yes.
Yeah, to me, that's semantic, because we're either working together or we're not, you know?
Yeah.
So it's easy enough to give Bobby a shout and go, this is what we want to do, and she said, I'll start a work group, who's on it? And we say, we got so-and-so so far.
Yeah. I also just wanted to say that I've heard a lot of comments that we come in here and talk around in circles and don't make any progress. And if we're talking about this rewriting of our governing ordinance, it would be an unrealistic expectation that we came in and took care of it in one meeting.
It would,
We are reimagining ourselves. Reimagining takes time. It takes effort, it takes evolution. And so to say that we've just been spinning our wheels and got nowhere would be inaccurate, because we went from our old structure to what we're talking about now, which is actually evolutionary and revolutionary. So it's not that we didn't get anywhere with this conversation. We got quite a ways down the road, I think. We're talking about a completely different structure, moving to a more efficient and effective and less time consuming concept. So something.
Adam, your 3 suggestions, your third one was every other month, you guys would co-chair and go for 3 months, is that?
Chair and vice chair.
I would be chair, Gio would be vice chair, and we would go for 3 months and reevaluate at that point.
Okay.
With meetings every other month, or not necessarily. You didn't decide.
We didn't decide
Okay.
that.
That was one of the options I heard, was every other month.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with Gio that quarterly is too long a period to go.
I would
without
point
meeting.
out that every other month for 3 months doesn't work.
Well, I would propose every month.
Mathematically.
I would propose every month for 3 months, and let's figure out if that's working or not working and discuss it in December. But that's my opinion.
So
Can I just give one more last closing remark?
Absolutely.
too?
please,
Just on the comment of the city manager is the only deciding factor for a work group. Yes, I do get to decide, or whoever is in this seat does get to decide if there's going to be a work group or not. However, all of the work groups have to have some alignment to the city council's goals. So, for example, there is a work group that was brought to ask if they could have this work group. And I said that we could start some investigation, but then that has to get taken to city council to see if this is the direction that city council wants volunteer time and staff time dedicated to, because it is not listed as something that's in their direct deliverables from their city council goals. So really, we have to keep remembering that all of our work really still has to come down from the city council goals and connected to the city council goals. I won't approve a willy-nilly work group,
God,
but
I wanted to do a willy-nilly. I had this great willy-nilly I wanted to
if
work.
there is a willy-nilly idea that comes, then it has to go to city council to say, is this enough in line with your goals? This is not listed as one of your deliverables. Is this something we want to be putting a lot of volunteer time and city staff time in? Because all work groups do take city staff time also, and that's a precious resource.
Yeah.
So,
Excellent clarification.
so I just want to give that clarification too.
Great.
so I would just like to clarify, what is the decision that we're going to make right now?
Yeah.
Are we going to decide on only 2 options? Either we're keeping the commission or we're pausing it? Or are we going to take it a step further and, decide how many meetings and what format? So to me, it's 2 separate questions.
Mhm.
First question is, are we going to continue? And I think that we should vote on that first.
And if I may, if we continue, it looks like this. We're continuing with the reimagined scenario where we have an agenda. The most time consuming part of the agenda is a work session. And those work sessions are designed to hear updates from relevant work groups.
Yeah,
And
that would be, again, that's the second question.
so rewriting policy isn't something we're doing during the meeting. It's something that's happening in a work group, for example.
So once again, the first question is, are we going to pause this commission or are we going to continue? So I think we have to vote. Okay. Madam Chairman.
I'm not a
Okay,
voting member.
You have to bang the gavel. No, you're not voting.
Voting member.
Uh,
Can I get a vote?
Did we have a motion? I didn't hear it as a
I'll
motion.
make a motion, we continue as a commission.
For 3 months and with you as Jeremy as co-chair. Is that the vote?
All right, I'll add that clause that, well, no, I can't nominate myself.
Right.
How
So
about
I'm
we
just
just
voting that
answer the first
continuing
question?
the commission as it is today.
As it is today.
Okay, all in favor?
Let's go around one
Okay.
at a time.
Okay, yay or nay, John?
Just as is.
Are we
As
going
a
to continue the
commission.
commission or pause it?
No for that, to not continue as is.
Well, hold on. That's a loaded question, as is.
Okay, so take that out. Are we going to continue the commission or not? It's a real.
Okay, we have a motion on the table, so we have to recall that motion if we're gonna have continued discussion.
The vote is, are we nominating?
No, we're not nominating anyone.
Commissioner?
We're deciding if we're going to have a commission or not.
If we don't have a chair and vice chair, there's no ability to vote here. We don't have a chair and vice chair.
Well, number one, Bobby's standing in for that for right now. And maybe I would suggest that we do vote to continue the commission in the interim because we don't have anything to lose by doing that. And it sounds like you're going to be working, at least you, on a way to streamline it and come up with some kind of, work session.
Yes, hopefully
scenario.
not me alone, but yes.
Yeah. So I can support us just going on a bit further, just to give it some more time to evolve, to go back to that word.
I don't think we can vote without a chair and vice chair. I don't think we are a seated commission at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but.
I don't know. We get-
You are the city manager sitting here because we don't have someone.
Okay, thank you. for that.
So we are authorized to take a vote.
You can vote as long as she's sitting there.
Okay,
And we kind of got to vote to continue on before we can nominate somebody to
Right.
lead us continue.
That's true.
that's why the Adam's motion is to continue the commission.
Yeah, forget the words as is.
That's not decided either. It's just, are we going to have a commission or are we not?
Okay, that's an easy vote.
Okay, John voted no.
I'm voting yes.
I'll vote yes.
I'm no.
Yes.
Okay,
3-2.
motion passed.
Okay, so now we have the motion or the vote to continue on. So now I think the next question to vote on would be, or just for somebody to make a motion on would be then the chair and vice
Leadership.
chair and then, or the leadership of it. And then after that, I think the next should be a little bit of the structure and how it will continue on for the way that it should.
I move that I nominate Adam to be chair.
Say that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we have a chair. I'll pack myself up and get out of your seat.
I nominate George as vice chair.
I second.
Second.
I mean, we can be efficient at some things.
All right, so the question I want to throw in right now is.
We're not having discussion now, Dan.
We're not discussing.
No, we can go for it.
Okay, how do we avoid doing this all over again?
Yeah, our one chance at a new commission member, we scared away.
Yeah. No figure.
He's like,
I want no part of this.
Real, what the hell, no?
Poor guy.
Yeah, so, but seriously, what's gonna happen in the next 30 or 60 days to make the next meeting different than today's?
I think for my part, our ordinance is ordinance number 209, and I think, me and whoever else wants to join me will identify the things we definitely don't want to be doing anymore as a commission.
That's a good start.
And then we can start talking about this next structure.
In that conversation, would it be identifying the things you don't want to do as a group in your regular sessions, or as a commission as a whole, or like as
Yeah.
group members?
I think what I meant by that was the purview.
Okay.
You know, so for example, there's in our ordinance 209, we're part of our purview is setting rental rates for the commons. There's been a lot of people.
Yeah, it's not our job
Like,
anymore.
what? It doesn't even make sense, you know, and so that kind of stuff, like ferreting out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense for us, I think is for the commission, not within the work groups. Yeah.
While we're on that discussion, is there anything that we should be doing or that we should do that would not be covered under the umbrella of the master plan implementation name?
Yeah,
Great question.
I think there's a lot.
Give me one, just so I understand.
The walkway, or overseeing the walkway project.
We are?
Walk in the landmark?
We are absolutely not. It have nothing to do with the walkway project. It was
Parks and Commons?
absolutely not.
Yeah.
It is
It
not.
never has been.
It's never been.
However, I will make the point that a while back, I mentioned that once it was done, it would be a park and then we'd be in charge.
Okay.
And I went, what the hell?
That has not happened, but as a. as
Park and Sunset Parks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Those are.
once they name that a park, then we have a certain amount of lack of better.
Well, no, what I'm saying is these parks, the Sunset Parks are outside of the Greater Commons area.
right. So those are examples of things that we have responsibility for
Yes.
that are not part of the.
Prospect.
Dan, he's answering your question.
Prospect.
But he's answering it in the wrong way, because if we're right here and this is all we're doing, then I'm not interested in being on this panel anymore. If we leave out half of the city in our planning, what are we doing?
We are not the walkway group. So you're not ever going to be unless you join the walkway.
Or what?
Well,
The
why
board.
is the boardwalk not, I'm serious, it was said that once it's a park, then it comes within our, lack of a better word, jurisdiction.
Okay.
And why the hell would you build something and then turn it over to other people who know nothing about it to run it?
Okay, so I'm just gonna speak to
Yes,
that
ma'am.
a little bit. So the walkway, from my understanding, was something that was brought in an idea from members of the trails group as they were working on the trails. They discovered this really big safety problem and brought it to the city council, and the idea to the city council approved it. They brought it a few times to Parks and Commons Commission in its early iterations to share that this was going on. It's been developed throughout this whole time by a work group and an engineer firm and city staff. And it's under the label of a work group. So it is part of that regular monthly work group meeting. Those work group meetings that pertain to this commission have been being reported. The progress has been reported to this commission. Now it's getting to be go time, build time, if we are successful in getting this grant. And it's looking like it's very highly likely that we will. But still not totally confirmed. And now it will be, that work group will continue on with our city staff, with the engineer company, with making reports to whatever body that work group is reporting to. Once it's complete, and that's a city entity, so that will be a city park. So as this group looks over any park, as it does now, it would also look over that because it will be city property, city infrastructure, city.
But are we looking over the development of it?
No,
Then I'm still lost.
yeah,
I mean, I'm absolutely lost that we have this entity called Parks and Commons.
Mhm.
And I still go back to the old English definition of commons. I don't stick it right on this one building.
Well, you're wrong on that. That's
Well,
what it means.
that's why I may not be a fit for this place. I may not. I mean, I'm trying to get something done here and I'm stymied right and left.
Dan, the point is there is a boardwalk work group. It already exists and has existed for years. That's.
I understand that point, George. I do. I just don't understand why they don't talk to us. I don't understand the concept that they're going to develop something without really any input so far, or I don't know what input in the future. And then suddenly it's going to be handed to us and we're going to be told to manage it or make decisions about something that's already done.
Mhm.
In the same way I had input on the bathrooms that I was told was good input.
Mhm.
In the same way I had input on those stairs, I was told that was good input. I don't have any input on the boardwalk, and that's a major commons area.
You're basically saying they're developing a park. Why isn't it being reported to us?
Yes, and why don't we have any ongoing input into that?
Mhm.
We have ongoing input into other things, but.
Yeah, so what I'll say to that is the plans for it, initial plans for it were at some point brought to the commission and to the city council. That was a long time ago. That hasn't had any changes to
Mhm.
it because it's been in this holding pattern of do we get a grant or not? And now it's going to be grant, potentially grant funded, and that's gonna kind of kickstart the work. And now that becomes a city project, city work. And it will be part of the regular reporting that happens as we move along,
To
mostly
city council?
the city council.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And if this body was existence, you'd be getting work group reports here to that too.
Yeah, that report has been in our.
And it's been
packet
every month.
That's probably why I was thinking they're reporting to us, but
Mhm.
technically they're not reporting to us, but
Mhm.
you're seeing, and we could potentially comment on it at that
Good.
time.
Yeah. And you can ask more questions, you can
Yes.
ask for more information, you could say, where are these plans at now?
I have another clarifying point that might help you, Dan, and that is the 804 trail. The
Mhm.
804 trail is not ours. It's not a park, it's a trail. And so the boardwalk actually is a trail. It's an extension of the 804 trail. It's not a park.
And the landmark property also?
I don't know what's going to happen with the landmark project,
Okay,
but the trails are not ours to manage.
then why did Bob show up here
Trails-
asking if he needed?
Trails
They
report
report to us.
to us.
They report to us.
The trails is a
Well, they
work
report
group.
to us, so we
And it
have an
reports
opinion,
to
don't
me.
they?
But you could have an opinion on the boardwalk too. Just go join the work group. If that's what you personally in your life want to do, there's nothing to prevent you from doing that. But it's not Parks and Commons business at this point.
I don't,
Pretty
okay,
clear.
what my point is, I don't see an integrative plan.
Mhm.
George talks about the 30,000 foot view. The 30,000 foot view should include the boardwalk, should include anything that is developed that is park-like or going to be a park. I mean, if we don't have the big picture, I don't understand what we're doing. We're gonna wind up with
We do have the picture. We get those reports. We know, I know what's going on in the walkway. If you're reading the reports each month, you know what's going on with the walkway. There was the meeting a month ago or so to get the grant. I don't know where that stands now because we had no packet this month, but but we are kept up to date on it.
But my understanding is we're passive observers. We're Joe Public as far as the.
That's our chance, that opportunity that's normally on our agenda is our chance to comment on any of those reports that we have questions on. Now, there may not always be a representative here to answer other than Bobby. But that's our opportunity to chime in.
So for example, Dan, when the call for agenda happens, I sure would like to see some drawings of that boardwalk. Get that on the agenda.
Mhm.
And that is your option to do that in this commission. And I think your point is something I scratched down here, and I think it's something that Rosa and you have talked about. Are we the commons or are we city spaces?
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of what you're getting at.
I'm definitely getting at that, because, like I
The
said,
whole understanding of what we're gonna be overseeing here, maybe even as part of the conversation.
Mhm.
well, it's Yahat's Parks and Commons, so to me, that should encompass basically anything within the city limits that is, for lack of a better word, park-like or something.
Yeah.
And
Common.
I don't like the fact that I, as a Parks and Common Commissioner, that I have to seek out these work groups and say, what are you guys doing?
Mhm.
Because I should know what those guys are doing just by showing up here.
And you should by your report that's in your packet.
Yeah.
Know what's going on.
Right. And I understand that so far, mostly everybody said, well, we haven't done much, nothing
Mhm.
much is going on. But that still
Mhm.
doesn't give Parks and Commons any kind of design input into what the city is building.
Mhm.
And we won't, except through work groups in overseeing, or not overseeing, but in getting reports from the work groups during work sessions. That would be our opportunity to chime in on their work.
And then it's always recommendations too. It doesn't
Yes,
always have to be, it's not decision making.
Yeah, it's
It's
advisory.
advisory.
I'm gonna make a suggestion, Dan, and you're gonna hate me. I apologize up front.
Well, if you want me to.
You have some strong opinions as to how this commission should run. And I know you don't want nothing to do with writing policy, but I think you and Gio would be best suited to write the policy 209 that tells us how we operate, because you have some very strong opinions on how that should work.
You do.
Here's your perfect opportunity for a sub work group, if you will.
I'm willing to sit down with Gio and talk about these things,
Um,
for sure.
And you'll hate me the whole time.
Pushing for a more inclusive view, because I'm still having a real hard time with the concept that the city's planning is quite fragmented, in my opinion.
There's your opportunity.
Huh? Gio, let's have coffee.
So,
Sorry, guys.
would this be a good time to recommend a work group for the reimagining of ordinance 209?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be a all day work group. I mean, we break up into,
Yeah, I like it. Yeah,
Sub-
like a subcommission, subcommittee kind of thing. That's not like a formal work group.
yeah,
It'd be a sub.
less than a quorum.
That reports to this work.
Yeah,
I
This,
thought we
this.
couldn't do less than a quorum meetings without.
You can't do a serial meeting, which is 3 or more in a commission of 5, 4 or more in a commission of 7. So basically a majority.
So, yeah,
So
so,
2 is not a serial meeting.
well, that's not a quorum.
Right, no, I know.
Yeah.
3 would be a quorum,
Yep, yep.
but 2 is not. So therefore it's not
Yeah.
a serial.
A serial meeting's different.
Serial meeting is if you have a quorum of people in an unscheduled meeting, that's considered.
No,
a
that's,
serial meeting.
that is just a public meeting violation. A serial meeting is a totally different thing and I
Okay,
can
never
explain it
mind.
later.
It's not going there.
I think a serial meeting is when, you go out and survey all the members
Yes.
individually. Hey, what do you think of this idea?
Yeah.
Thank you. What do you think of this idea?
Yeah.
Thank you. What do you think of this
I
idea?
thought it was when you ate Cocoa Puffs with milk.
Yeah.
So do subcommittees of commissions need to be public?
No,
No,
not at all. You guys
You
meet,
don't need a work
come
group.
up with something,
you would meet, you would come up with something and you'd present it back here to the group.
and that would be public.
That works.
And that would be public.
The output of what you do is public.
Yeah.
You're,
Perfect.
thank you both for working on that, honestly.
And any other thinkers?
I will point out,
At this point,
I'd like.
with 5, Gio,
Some of the
we
previous.
can't
members.
have anyone else join if we have currently 5 members, right? That would be a third.
What if they were not a commission?
If they're not a commission, then yeah,
So like he could get Michael or whatever to
absolutely.
help with that and it would.
Member of the public.
Bobby, Kimmy, maybe you guys know this, we are a commission of 7, so is quorum 4 or is quorum currently 3?
3.
yeah, because it doesn't have 5.
Five.
Yeah.
Actual number of members.
So, so that would be in the majority, but actually written into our charter for the planning commission, because that is a state required commission, even though there's 7 on the seats available, even if there's only 5 filled, they still have to have 4 for the 4 as their quorum,
Wow.
which is the majority. So even though that there's those seats wouldn't be filled, like they act as if they were.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where are we now? When's our next meeting?
First Tuesday of October, whatever day that.
So I would like,
Gonna skip a month?
I would like to make a motion I would like to make a motion that we have our next meeting in 2 months instead of one.
Second that motion.
Move the meeting or,
Well, we have to
the
vote.
meeting in November.
Yeah. Try the every other month idea. So it's just a motion and seconded, so we have to vote.
Given,
I'm sorry, clarification, every other month or just,
Well, since we were only continuing through the end of this year,
Let's just say skip the October meeting.
okay,
I move we skip the October meeting.
was that about December and the November meeting? Is that-
Yeah, and
Okay, all right.
November and December,
no, well, no, just November for now.
okay. Okay,
Do you think of anything we would need to be addressing in October?
Not unless you just wanted to get this policy.
Well, they could be working on that anyway.
right?
So again, there's a motion on the floor. Nobody's running the meeting. Can we have a vote?
Yeah.
Is there comment first?
I don't know.
I would just like to say that we are now skipped a month without any of the packet of the work group reports and everything. And if we skip October, that's gonna be 2 straight months for skipping it.
Hmm.
I personally am not comfortable going into a 3rd month before we see that information and have a chance to chime in on it. That's where I stand.
so there's a motion on the floor. Do you want to vote?
Sure. If anyone else wants to comment, we get a chance though, right?
So we've got a motion, but not a second.
It was seconded.
Okay.
John seconds.
Mhm.
Who did?
John.
John,
Ravel.
okay. Okay,
So all in favor, since no one else is gonna take a stand on this?
Chair.
Got 3, okay.
Okay, the motion is passed. Okay. So then you will be doing the agenda?
No?
Oh, George is doing the agenda.
For November,
Yeah,
first Tuesday of November.
I'll send you a draft that we work from.
Draft agenda.
it's a template, basically.
And you will work with Rosa on that.
Don't know what date that is?
Why are you uncomfortable with missing one with the packet?
Well, effectively, we missed this month too.
Mhm.
So that means we're going 3 months from August's meeting to November's meeting without really looking at the reports from the staff reports, the work group reports.
Can you get access to that information?
Mhm.
Yeah, good. But we don't get to comment on it and discuss it. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, November's date is on Veterans Day, and that's the 11th.
That's the first Tuesday?
No, it's a fourth.
Oh, I'm sorry, the 4th,
So we're okay, right? Yeah, we're okay.
Election Day, we're good.
We hope we are.
11. Thank you. I don't know what I was thinking the second.
Effectively, this was a wasted meeting. Next month would be a wasted meeting. Well, wouldn't have a meeting, so we'd really be going 3 months without a meeting. That's where I stand.
Because of the wasted.
Yeah, I would emphatically disagree with that. I think
We didn't get any,
You were a chair and you were a vice chair.
We're effectively having, would you say a pause, just to see, because it was this one time to determine.
Yeah.
2 months, like, what did we miss?
Anyway, it's already decided.
yeah.
That's true. It's been voted on. All right.
Stay tuned for the website page of all of them or groups listed.
There's a web page dedicated to work groups.
There's
Or
not, there's
in
going to
development.
be, yes, in development.
I just have one comment going back much earlier, and then I think unless there's more to discuss, I think we can be done for the day. I do take offense to thinking of Facebook as a primary means to reach out to people. I know a number of people in this town, starting with at least one member of the city council, if not more than one, who are not on Facebook and have no desire to be on Facebook. We can't think of that as a primary means to reach people.
It's not suggested as primary.
Okay.
It's suggested as an adjunct. I mean,
Okay.
the newsletter's great.
Yes, it
And
is.
if 800 people read that, I'm certain that several hundred people read Facebook.
Agreed.
And they're they're developing a web page specifically for some of this stuff, so that's
Exactly.
another avenue for it.
Exactly.
And the newsletter goes out to every individual.
Yes.
So that-
And the newsletter can have-
For
Yes.
everybody, that's, I mean.
A newsletter can have contact information, you know. The Facebook page could have contact information. I think we'd have more public exposure that way.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying don't put stuff on
Just
Facebook.
not to be
Enjoying this meeting or something.
Valid point.
All right, can we adjourn this meeting?
Please.
Sure.
Thank
I don't have the gavel.
you.
Thank you, Brian.